Now let's say hello to a man whose job it is to make jokes about everything else in the papers.
Have I got news for you? Just wouldn't be the same without him. It's Paul Merton.
That's right.
Hello, Paul. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Always pleased to be here. Lovely.
Good, good. We saw a very sweet picture of you and Ian in bed together.
Oh yes,
week.
yes. We didn't know there was photographers present.
I don't know whether it's more Bert and Ernie or Morecambe and Wise.
Yes, it's rather embarrassing, but there we are. We do love each other.
Do you love each other? The big thing I want to know is, does he snore in bed?
Well, only when he's asleep.
I'm surprised that made you so uncomfortable.
Didn't make me uncomfortable. I paused for comic effect.
I've got to learn how to do that. Now, Paul, in your honour, we've
Yes.
decided that we're only going to invite people called Merton on
That's
the show
excellent.
today. So later on, we're going to have a performance of No Roots, which is the new single from a pop superstar in the making. She's had over 74 million views. It is, of course, Alice Merton.
Fantastic.
So, Paul, when we get two guests with the same surname,
Yes.
well, we like to delve into their family tree, see if
Yes.
there's any connection between them.
Absolutely.
So our poor researchers, they haven't slept for about 3 days
No,
because
that's
they've been
fair enough.
busy. They've made you this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's quite something. This.
Family tree, as you'd expect. Here you are, look, I'll hold one end. And through your mother's cousin's auntie's nephew,
Yes.
it turns out that you were, in fact, Alice's dad.
Well, I mean, this would make sense if Merton was my real name, but of course it's not. But
So what, this entire thing is a waste of time?
no, it's not a waste.
Don't do that.
I could have framed that before I threw it away.
We will be talking about the brand new series of Have I Got News For You, the 55th series. We'll be talking about that very, very shortly. Now, the new series of Have I Got News For You starts later on tonight at 9:30 here on BBC One. It was recorded last night, and here is a fantastic and exclusive clip hot off the press. Jeremy Paxman is the guest host, but you, Paul, and Steph McGovern give as good as you get.
Oh, good.
What's the other food-related outrage this week?
Food-related.
Food-related! Pay attention.
You working those teeth in for somebody?
Jeez.
Very good.
Here you are, a patronising git, aren't you?
I tell you what, Paxman has really met his match there in
I have
Steph
to say,
McGovern.
it is an absolutely classic recording. It's up there with Bruce Forsyth. It really is one to watch. I'm so pleased to be on tonight after having done that one last night. Jeremy, the arch inquisitor, the man that sort of politicians always feared to be interviewed, he gets it back.
Good.
He
Why
gets
is
it
he,
back. And you saw there, and there's plenty more like that to come.
But I'm surprised that it's his first time presenting. What was he like as a host?
He was a bit nervous because it is a bit out of his comfort zone. But I think he did something for Channel 4 last year, had a comedy sort of slant to it, so I think that persuaded him to do it. But he was superb because he has the Paxman-esque qualities, the scourge of the politician and stuff. But we, unlike politicians, we've got nothing to defend, so we come straight back with, we haven't got a defence policy that's gone wrong. So, we just come straight back at him, and he was coming back at us. It was great. Ian and joining in as well. Steph, of course, was excellent. So, yeah, it was really good fun.
Yeah, it's good to see Steph on it. But, some comments that you and Ian made about the lack of female MPs hosting the show, it made the press last week.
I think MPs hosting the show is a bit of a disaster anyway.
In general?
Yeah, they're no good.
And why not?
Well, Janet Street Porter said Ed Balls did it, but he was a Strictly Come Dancing contestant when he did it last year. But, they're reading autocue, they're reading jokes written for them by writers they don't know, which necessarily may not be their comic rhythms if they have any, which generally they don't. So, as hosts, they're disasters. Male and female politicians really are pretty bad at hosting it. Because it's not their skill set any more than if I couldn't stand up in the House of Commons and make a speech.
No. But you've got obviously enthusiasm for Steph doing it, so presumably you don't want it to feel like somewhere where women don't feel comfortable to be.
I mean, look at all the women that do the show. I mean, there's women doing the show all the time. So, I mean, we're very happy to have women on the show. It's a woman-friendly show.
Yeah.
Joe Brand does it.
Catherine Ryan does it, didn't she? Yeah.
Sarah Pascoe does it. There's loads of people do it.
Who would be your dream host?
Jeremy Paxman. Every week.
And now that you've got him...
Every week. We've got to chain him to the desk.
I reckon he'd be up for it.
And feed him. Well, I don't think he would be, but no, definitely. It was just the comic contrast between his usual sort of serious self and us sort of having to go back at him. It was very funny.
Yeah.
And the world has changed so much since you started Have I Got News for You? When you started in 1990, it was the end days of Margaret Thatcher.
Yes,
Prime
but
Minister.
we saw her off.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more. Well, that's not how she saw it. There's a
She
lot
didn't see
more-
it coming at all, did she?
Well, that's disputed. There's a lot more news around. There's a lot more news around these days. How has the show changed as the world has changed?
I don't know about there being more news around, but I mean, certainly what's happened with the show is that it's got chattier. You know, when we first started, I think that, you know, the question would be asked and you would give the answer, and then there'd be another question. So there wasn't quite so much sort of talking around the subject at all. You know, like moments like that there now with Jeremy sort of like mispronouncing a word, we wouldn't have picked up on that sort of thing. But now everybody's grown into the sort of the nature of the show, so any opportunity for a joke, you grab hold of it where you can, you know.
Yeah, and unbelievably, you've been doing it now for 28 years.
It is unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. No, it is.
Yeah, totally unbelievable.
But how do you keep it fresh, you know, personally then?
Well, I think you have to... Well, first of all, you know, you've got 5 people on screen every week, and 3 of them weren't there the week before. So that gives it... So the host is different and the 2 guests are different. So there's a freshness to that. And you have to approach it as if you haven't, you know, it doesn't matter what last week's show was like. I mean, tonight's show is fantastic, but next week we have to do it again. And so you can't rely on like this week's show. You have to be fresh, you have to be up for it, you have to be ready, have a nap during the afternoon, get in there full of energy and enthusiasm, you know. Look at Ian and suppress the thought, oh, no, not him again.
Well, one person that you have had on a hell of a lot is, Jacob Rees-Mogg, the MP. And this week, the Beano comic sent him a cease and desist letter for supposedly modelling himself on their character, Walter the Softie.
I mean, to be fair, you can see their point, can't
Now,
you?
to be fair to your viewers, you've got to point out which is which.
Paul, inspired by that film and your new series,
Yes.
we've devised...
Who could not help but be inspired by that film?
I was transfixed, weren't you?
Yeah, I was as well.
We're going to challenge you to a few rounds of something we've imaginatively called Have I Got World Leaders and Their Dogs for You?
Oh, fantastic
Right.
title.
OK. Yeah.
Where do you think we got that one from?
Tells us everything we need to know.
Exactly.
Go on, then.
So, first round is all
Yeah.
about what happens next.
OK.
OK, so here you can see
I wish I knew what happened next.
Here's President Macron
yes.
of France hosting a meeting at the Elysee Palace.
Yep. Yep.
What happens next?
I think we had that on the programme. He's got a little dog, and the dog goes over to the fireplace and urinates on the fire.
How do you know that?
Well, I've seen it before, otherwise... otherwise it wouldn't-
OK, well, let's see if you're right. There it is.
Faire un truc assez... Vous avez déclenché chez mon chien un comportement totalement inhabituel. Alors, pardon.
That was indeed... Let's have a round of applause for Paul getting that right. That was indeed Nemo, the black Labrador Griffin cross, making a political point in the fireplace.
Yeah, he's
Nice.
now Foreign Secretary.
OK, second question, Paul.
Yeah.
Here we are. Now, this is a silhouette of a former world leader. This guy has got tons of dogs. In fact, so many, he doesn't know the exact number.
Oh.
But who is he?
Former body, he should be recognisable.
Now, here's a clue. At his most recent election, just 1 month ago, he promised tax breaks on pet food, free checkups at the vet and clearer rules on pet custody after
did.
divorce.
I've got no idea who he is.
OK,
How about that for an answer?
Let's have a look then.
Go on then, I still won't know who he is.
It's Berlusconi.
Oh, yes, I do
With
know
his
who he
little
is.
dog, a Maltese called Dudu.
I'm used to seeing him in his underpants.
Aren't we all? And look, finally here is, of course, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, famously
Yes.
the first US president for 120 years not to have his own dog in the White House. But
Well, he wouldn't want a
tell
pet
me,
that outsmarted him, would he?
can you tell me how he relates to this beagle?
How does Donald Trump relate to that beagle?
Yeah.
Correct, that's the question.
Is it about the ears?
They share the same natural mother.
No.
The ears, he's got the same ear circumference as Donald Trump.
No. This little beagle, I'll tell you,
Go on
this is
then.
hard. This
Yeah.
little beagle is called Chief, right?
Yes.
His owner, Jade,
Yes.
took him to the vet because
Yes.
he had a cyst in his ear.
Right.
And the cyst looks exactly like...
Donald Trump. Oh, yes! Now, once again, for our viewers, you want to point out which one is which. That is
Isn't it
extraordinary.
brilliant?
To be honest, I'd rather the cyst was leader of the free world, but there we are.
Now, and Paul, actually, we know that you don't have a mobile phone.
I don't have a mobile phone, I
Why?
don't have a computer, I don't have email. So I don't do text or Twitter or any of that, none of it.
Just not into it.
None interested.
Fair enough.
Why?
Well, I'm the same as everybody else was 25 years ago. You know,
Much
I
like
used
Matt
to
Baker,
work
to
in
be
an
fair.
office as a, you know, when I first left school. It reminded me of clerical work. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Isn't it quite nice when people know how to get hold of you to
No.
meet up? No? You want to be left alone?
If I was working as a 24-hour plumber, it would be essential.